Welcome to the 36th video in the series, Foundations of Communist Organizing. Today we'll be going over the 1945 piece by the ICP, The Party Platform. I've subtitled this, Proletarian Autonomy and Global Class Warfare Requires Doctrinal Rigor. In this text, in terms of the construction, structure, principles, and tactics of the working class association, which can produce the revolutionary dictatorship of the proletariat, which can, in turn, produce communism, it is called for by the writer to take a variety of tactical actions that make the party distinct from revisionist and opportunist, quote-unquote, communist parties aligned with Moscow after World War II. It advises that fascism has not been truly defeated, but rather will take a new form after the war, as the bourgeois nations cannot maintain their existence while the varying social groups within vie for power, thus weakening the ability to respond to working class movements. To this end, the Vanguard Party must respond with new propaganda, organization, and struggle specifically to fight against the incorrect positions. The party must recognize the necessity of the party organization, reject social chauvinism and other opportunist elements, base its analysis on historical materialism, and recognize the development of capitalism into world imperialism. So all capitalist nations are now imperialist. Due to the developments, the party must not fall for, and the reason for this is namely because markets within the entire world are now completely developed, right? Even within colonized nations, just because their national bourgeoisie don't happen to have control over their national markets doesn't mean that the instant that a national bourgeois movement happens to take control, they have to spend any time essentially developing capitalism. No, capitalism is now fully global, fully developed. The proletariat is the sole remaining revolutionary force. So, continuing. Due to the developments, the party must not fall for tricks which lead to the belief that the social groups outside of the proletariat can be collaborated with to defeat fascism, and be prepared to fight the highly developed bourgeois state which is supported by all strata aligned together against the revolution, the ever greater ruthless concentration of capital, and a police state necessary to support all of this. Ultimately, our tactics, ever and always, need to be aimed at the political independence of the working class to prepare for, initiate, and carry out the final struggle. To that end, we must rebuild the International, this time in the correct, strict, disciplined manner. It must include all local and national movements which 1. Reject alignment with bourgeois organizations, 2. Engage in general anti-fascist struggle, 3. Reject social chauvinism, 4. Are anti-war, 5. Aim for the unity of the proletariat, 6. Fight bourgeois ideology through propaganda, and finally 7. And seek the organization of the international proletarian masses. This international must create a common program which rejects partial interests, instead creating a general, safe, and organic force aimed for a common struggle for world revolution. Within this international, the proletarian class parties must first develop their organizational framework, under the direction of doctrine and program, seeking to bring in revolutionary militants that remain true to communists, anti-fascist workers, socialist workers who denounce current worker organizations, and any petit-bourgeois, artisan, or even bourgeois elements who are sympathetic, while also making it clear that those external elements must accept the program without hesitation. The structure itself must be dynamic, aiming principally at being in service to class tactics of political action, which defend against inadequate cadres and opportunist hierarchies. In addition, in order to rebuild the capacity of the parties to engage with the working class and start supporting economic struggle, the unions must be criticized and busted, replaced with genuine proletarian economic organizations which enter into direct conflict with their bosses and are part of an industrial general outfit. In terms of any irredentist or separatist movement, while these can be helpful creating objective revolutionary conditions, the party must seek maximal centralization, but be broken into partial interests, as the local organs of struggle are unable to effectively fight against a modern, hyper-organized bourgeois state. The party must also make its distinction from the reformists and the social democrats and revisionists of other quote-unquote communist parties. It must proclaim without hesitation the full content of its principles and goals, such as, but not limited to, 1. The construction of a new proletarian economy that is rationally planned and weaves together and unites all productive activities without government or compromise, bureaucracy or privilege. 2. And the intent for revolutionary insurrection against the ruling class, made clear through rejection of electoralism on the grounds of rejection of the bourgeois state and its minority principle, the understanding that constitutional majorities will not increase the class struggle, but going to the masses directly will, and making it clear that the party's program and propaganda is not harmed from corruption and disarmament of revolutionary energies caused by the influences of electoral activity. 3. The production of worker councils that are representative organs of the proletarian class and act as organs of combat that aim for the destruction of all representative rights of the exploiting classes. 4. The full rejection of all social chauvinism, including of that towards women, irredentism, nationalism, all false bourgeois stages internationalist calls by the bourgeoisie. And finally, 5. The official recognition of the character of religion as a political force, systematically excluding religious association from entrance into the party, distinct from individuals who happen to be religious, as in like a religious association that wants to collaborate with the party, while clearly rejecting metaphysics and therefore religion. And in case there's any confusion here, this section right here is not calling for separatist movements to be supported. Quite the opposite. Rather, we're trying to increase centralization, but at the same time recognize localization. So, just to be clear, no support of irredentism or separatism. With that said, that is the end of my summary of the 1945 piece by the ICP, The Party Platform. If you'd like to see the quotations I derived this summary from, you can go into the description below and you'll find a link to this Google document where you can read it for yourself. There's also a link to the United Marxist Pact Discord server, wherein if you would like to discuss this or any other text in greater detail, we would love to have you. Tomorrow we will be going over the 1948 piece by the ICP, The Party Program. Thank you for joining me for today's topical summary, and I hope to see you then.